The families of the 19 students and teachers have begun to make funeral arrangements for their loved ones as harrowing new details of the attack and its aftermath continue to emerge.
Now, Kunle Falomo is a global affairs analyst and is joining me from Indianapolis. Kunle, thank you so much for joining us on World Now. You know, this is not the first time we are hearing about shooting in schools. As a matter of fact, the Vice President Kamala Harris said something, and I quote, that every time a tragedy like this happens, our hearts break, and our broken hearts are nothing compared to the broken hearts of these families, and yet it keeps happening. So the question is, but why do we still continue to see shootings in schools in the U.S.?
All right, great question. First of all, I would like to, from a parent to other parents, I'd like to condone, and my heart goes out to everybody that have lost someone in the horrific shooting in Texas. Our heart goes out to them, and we pray that God gives them the strength to go through this pain, not alone. Yes, how do we even get here in the first place? We're becoming numb to the stories of having to witness a shooting, a mass shooting in schools and public places across America. This is getting way out of hand already. This is the second quarter of 2022, and we're having not less than 27 shootings across the United States already. This is tragic and is very unfortunate, and we're all gripped with fear and uncertainty because we don't know when and where this is going to happen next. We don't know what's going to happen. It seems like there's no solution to the problem, but there is actually. Our gun culture generally in America, and the protection of the Second Amendment is something to talk about. In the reporting, I heard where the reporter was talking about, where the politicians were talking about gun control, and that isn't enough. That's just a part of the puzzle that needs to be solved. There are more issues at hand. A quick reminder, here in America, you won't be able to go to the bar at 18 in some states. But you can go to a gun shop and acquire an assault rifle at the age of 18. Now, how does that make any sense? In Florida, where we had another shooting earlier this year, they had increased the age limit from 18 to 21 before you could acquire or purchase a gun. These are some of the policies that are being put in place. Are they enough? It isn't enough, but we're getting somewhere. Again, it's unfortunate, but we hope and pray that the policymakers are listening, and we hope that we're able to avoid another mass shooting across America.
Well, that just like you said, a lot of calls have actually gone out to push back against the people who are gun lobbyists. But then, just like you said earlier on as well, that everyone is afraid what this shooting might happen next. So is that to say that there is no gun law at all? I mean, gun that actually prevents schools from shootings? Well,
some of the things that we could do to mitigate all of this incidents are, they've flouted the idea of universal gun control and universal background checks. Simply put, trying to look at the history of any potential gun buyer before you get to acquire one. And also, they're flouting the idea of talking to a law enforcement personnel to kind of do an evaluation for an individual that wants to acquire a gun. And those are some of the policies that some policymakers are talking about. But it goes far way more than that, because when you look at across board, we also hear about especially politicians, conservatives on the other side are talking. They always blame mental health challenges when it comes to gun violence. But in this particular incident, the teenager that's went through with this act is only 18, and he doesn't have a record of a criminal background, and then he doesn't have any mental health challenge. At least that's what they're telling us right now. So even if they'd enacted a law that says that if you have a mental issue, you're not able to acquire a gun, in this case, it wouldn't have worked because he doesn't have one. So again, it goes back to the drawing board. What are the other policies we could put in place to ensure or safeguard the lives of our kids, because it's getting way out of hand.
Right.
One of the major go ahead with your question.
Yeah, well, I was just going to say this 18-year-old, they said he was a fan of the shooter and combat game Call of Duty, and actually speaks to the cultivation theory of the mass media, where we have the issue of violence in the media. When you're exposed to the kind of movies that you watch, and we know that most of American movies that we even watch here in our own country are usually about violence. Talk about African movies, you look at those who are into black magic, but American movies are usually portraying violence, people shooting here and there. So do you think this kind of movies actually expose them to shooting indiscriminately, taking guns, and think it's just a normal thing? Remember a young boy who said recently during the coronavirus pandemic, when everyone was in lockdown, said he wanted to kill everybody in the world. He wanted to get guns and start killing everybody in the world. So could this be responsible for this kind of indiscriminate shootings?
Well, definitely the Second Amendment in the United States Constitution safeguard you as a citizen to bear arms. It guarantees that you're able to get a rifle, get all kinds of ammunition if you're able to purchase one. The Second Amendment, we have a gun culture in America. It's being embraced by all and sundry. Everybody loves to have a gun, to acquire one. As a matter of fact, you look odd if you don't have a gun in your residence. So I would tell you, a majority of people do have a gun in their possession here in the States, but it goes beyond that. When you look at just like you rightly mentioned, the media and the issue with gun violence, well, it is possible that the movies that the kids are exposed to plays another instrumental role, but the thing we need to consider is where are the parents? Where are the guidance of these young minds? What are they doing, and how are they helping their kids, and how are they checking on their mental health? Because it's not, if you're a right-thinking member of a society, you wouldn't wake up in the middle of one day and decide to, harm people or shoot people, and as a matter of fact, kill people. It would take a mind that's been very troubled, very angered, and very deeply confused to go ahead and, kill somebody, think about killing somebody, and actually doing the killing in that manner that we saw in Texas. So the mental state of individuals also plays a major role. I wouldn't necessarily blame the media on some of these atrocities.
Absolutely, I feel you're right, because it just speaks to the person's psychology. When you handle gun, you go on social media, you're filming yourself live as you're killing your fellow human beings. It's so crazy, as some politicians have actually described it in the US. Thank you so much for your keenness of insight this time.
My pleasure.